Alright, I think we're live. What up? Today we'll be working on a human plague victim. So he's gonna be real cute. Alright, sounds pretty good. Alright, sweet. And Sarah, I saw your message. I'm gonna respond to it anyway if you don't mind. But yeah, California is very on fire still. I actually just googled it because I wasn't totally sure exactly where we're at. It's now considered a gigafire, meaning it's burned over 1 million acres. It just, the world's on fire. It's fine. I'm pretty south, so I'm okay. It's just smoky. Alright, let me mute myself. I'm all confused. I was still listening to the audio coming back to myself 20 seconds later, so that's why I look confused. Zaxis is here. Hello. Alright, let's get my music going. Alright. So yeah, this is the start of the human plague victim. I'm actually looking forward to this because it's just fun to really dig into details and make something gross. I will save this really quick and I'll show you the dwarf brewer. I posed him last night and he's adorable. He came out really cute. As far as update with me, I'm doing well. I have my candle lit and I have my creamer with a splash of coffee. My dog's lying next to me. He's very asleep. I think that's pretty much it. Pretty quiet day. I woke up just pissed. I don't know why. I just woke up and I was just in a rotten mood. My bird was screaming and my dog. You know, like when dogs are just really clingy, especially on one day, he was like under my feet. He was driving me nuts. I'm like, I'm gonna step on you and feel bad. We sorted it out. But that was the first. Where is my stuff? There we go. That was the first like hour or so of my morning. And I made myself some coffee and some food and I calmed down. But I don't know. It was weird. I woke up and I'm just like, oh, not the day. Oh my goodness. Not super often that happens, so I guess it was interesting. Plague victim. So for plague victim, I'm thinking like bubonic plague, but I'm probably gonna branch out on like the grossness because like the bubonic plague is just like those, you know, buboes, those giant like bulbs, and I don't know, they don't look super fun to sculpt. They're just orbs. All right, let's open that dwarf brewer because I apparently can't find files and talk at the same time. There we go. There you go. Look how cute he is. Oh my goodness. Not totally finished, that's why his arm isn't totally connected. But mostly finished. He's absolutely adorable. I didn't expect to make him so happy. I'm making all these townsfolk so happy, which isn't super fitting for peasants, I guess, but my peasants are happy. Anyways, that's been up with me. How have you guys been? Hope y'all have been well. This sculpting week has been so much fun. I might make this more of a routine. I thought it would take more out of me, but it doesn't. That's kind of cool. All right, let me read some chat. Sarah, your comment got held for review because popped pustules is too gross, I guess. I'll go ahead and show that message. That's really funny. Ooh, we're gonna do Carmine Red. I'm feeling red today, so that sounds good. Stay safe then. Kind of feels like the Dust Bowl. Yeah, I know, it's insane. Lots of ash, lots of grossness. What was I doing? Ah, yes. Ooh, that's a very pretty color. I'm gonna drag it onto my other screen here just in case it doesn't show up on my headphones super well. But this is the color. How gorgeous is that? New favorite color. I absolutely love that. Gonna look at my own stream so I can see it a little bit. It comes across as just pink on this, I think. Anyway, it's gorgeous. I love it. Thank you. All right. I think that's it. I think we're ready to roll. In addition to waking up just feeling super pissy, I've just felt super forgetful today. Like I'm just going to do something and then I'm like, what was I doing? So we'll see how much work I really get done today, but I have high hopes. All right. Yeah. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is adjust his face. I think he looks a little too handsome. What kind of peasant has that kind of jawline? I don't think so. So let's go ahead and soften that up a little bit. Bit of a weaker chin. I feel like peasants just, you have a big nose. It just comes with the territory. More pronounced brow. I also just want him to look kind of like deflated in general, because I imagine having the plague is a horrible experience. If I imagine, I'm pretty confident on that one. So, right, I'm gonna go in with the clay buildup brush and Alt. I'm gonna remove some volume from his skin. So be careful not to remove it where his cheekbones are, because there's a bone here. But like right here, I can remove some, get more of that gaunt look. I don't want to go too far though, because I don't want him to just look emaciated just because he's sick. He's still pretty good looking. What can I do? Larger ears. I always have a hard time with making characters ugly. Like, disease is one thing, but then just like less attractive. I've always found just prominent features attractive or interesting. That's kind of what I'm doing with him unintentionally, is this really strong brow and weak chin. I don't know, but it looks interesting together. I will make you uglier. You wait. Just my habit to make everything balanced, which in itself is attractive. I guess what I'm trying to say is only ugly people can get the plague. I don't know. I want the character to look cohesive. You know what I mean? I don't want them to look just like, I don't know, tragic. I feel like sometimes when your character is too attractive, but has like, you know, a disease or something, they just end up looking like romanticized and sad as opposed to like gross. And I'm going for gross. I don't know how unhappy I want to make him. Okay, removing some muscle mass around his neck and shoulders. His arms, I'm going to leave looking muscular because I'm probably just going to cover them up anyway, so it won't even matter. If I start to look sad and unhappy, it's just because I'd make the face of what I'm making. So don't worry, I'm feeling fine. I like his side profile a lot more than his front. These lines right here, like, oh my goodness, it's too much. It's just too much. Let me soften that out a little bit. There we go. You look so sad already. As entertained as I'd be by unibrow, I'm not gonna do that. I mentioned I like pronounced features, but unibrows are the one thing that has never ever grown on me. I think we make the nose like more of a focal point of his face. I'm also gonna make him fairly wrinkled, not so much for age, but just for wear and tear. Because the plague takes a lot out of you. Just breaking up the forehead a little bit more so it's not perfectly smooth. I don't like how harsh these lines are right here. So I will go to a lower subdivision level. Just smooth those out. There we go. That softened it up. I think a shorter face looks weird in a way that I like. There we go. Again, I really like his side profile. The front is still too pretty. I don't know, maybe I put like boils on it, that'll help. I'm thinking so. That's interesting. Since Sarah mentioned, I know one pope was surrounded by a ring of fire to keep it away from him. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. Grow on you. Yes. Oops. I was gonna give him long sleeves, and I'm realizing how ridiculous that is now. Because if he has long sleeves and long pants, how am I gonna show that he's a plague victim? Duh. So what I think I'm gonna do instead is give him an open vest. Like it should have a shirt under it, but it doesn't because I imagine it'd be so painful to have any clothing on these. But I really need to try not to make him look like a sexy plague victim because he does have a good build. So I need to ruin that first. Otherwise, an open vest, again, might look too spicy, which is not what I'm going for. How do I ruin his build? He's very tall. I don't know. As mentioned before, I really just find people attractive. I like bodies, I like faces. Okay. I can get rid of some muscle mass. I can make him a little bit blobbier. Definitely with his torso, I think. I mean, I like this. The waist is already a little emaciated to that in Z Builder. I'm just going to lightly inflate his arms, hopefully make the shape of them less clear, and then I'll go ahead and smooth them too, to really just make them like non-distinct. I think I'd like to make his hands a bit bonier too, but I'm probably going to pose them, so I'll wait to do that. Just gonna lightly build up these forms. Instead of using damp standard, I'm gonna use just normal standard with lazy mouse turned on. This is like the same way I do fabric folds pretty much, because that's pretty much what these look like. So in order to make him less attractive, I will just make him look sickly. That's not attractive. There we go. I figured it out. I said I wasn't going to make him emaciated, and here I am making him look emaciated. It's fine. His back isn't going to be showing, so I won't worry about that. I just want him to be like, somehow have like an emaciated looking chest and then like a normal belly. That's what I'm thinking. That doesn't make any sense. So I will find an in-between. All right, my minimal understanding of placement of bones and muscles is paying off. This is really a time where I should pull up a reference, but I'm just gonna make him look disgusting anyway, so I don't think it's worth the effort. It's better. Make his neck a bit thinner. A bit thinner. Same with his shoulders, not so broad. A little more sloped. He still has impeccable posture right now because I haven't posed him, but I'll just pretend that he's all slouched over. Alright, let's make that little vesty thing I was talking about. That's about what I'm going for. Not so shaped around the collar though. Alright, I'm gonna extract this with no thickness. Let's see if it'll listen to me. It really hasn't been recently. Oh, it did. Yay! I'll say no thickness and it's just like, thickness? I'm like, no, 0. I'm not sure what the bug is with that, but it feels like with each update it gets a little worse. It's alright. It's a very short part. Alright, so what I've been doing to shape the clothes more quickly is I've been going to the dynamics thing, which has been really helpful. Okay, that was way too fast. So I'm gonna turn gravity down. Where is gravity? There it is. From 10 to like 2. There we go. How cool is that? From this to this in like a second. Very cool. Before I would just manually shape it. So realistically this is saving me like, I don't know, 20 seconds, but like, hey, 20 seconds. I'm gonna make his pants uncomfortably high-waisted because that's what peasants do, I swear. Alright, definitely gonna close the vest a little bit more. To do that, I'll just select. There we go. This. And then I'll just use this move tool. All right, I definitely don't want to see how it's kind of like tailored right now. I don't like that. So I'm gonna make this pretty much as flat as I can and at like an awkward length. So not like mid-thigh and not past his butt, just like exactly in between to where it's not super flattering. Really boxy. I give him like a rope belt too. Now all the edges of this are going to be tattered as well. Oh, goodness. This looks really weird with that dynamic on. Just putting it back on. Oh, there's Pin People. Hello. Hey, face this. The newest fashion. Plague by Marc Jacobs. Andrew says, I just hear a Kickstarter idea. Spicy plague victims. Saxa says, Christian Bale and the machinist level of emaciated. Oh, God, no. No, I'm not doing that. Gross. He's a peasant. It's likely he doesn't eat well. That's true. Here, hello. Let's see. Well, emaciated chest with a pot belly is actually common in poor countries. Okay, cool. I felt like it was possible somewhere, or like in some setting. Saxa says, program like thickness. Nothing wrong with that. The spelling there is almost lost on me. Since I have my hair up and I have my headphones on, I'm gonna slowly get this like puff on the front of my hair, so trying to maintain, but by the end of it, I'm sure I'm just gonna be like, poof. All right. I'm gonna move it open a little bit more. To add some thickness with dynamic thickness. Yeah, I knew the corner's doing something weird. It's fine. I want it pretty bulky. One, because I don't want it to look sleek by any means, but also because it's going to give me more room to make it tattered. Alright, I'm not going to keep the edges and stuff. I'm just going to clear the polygroups, and if I Dynamesh this, there we go. So in this case, this like nasty low poly Dynamesh thing that happens is really working in my favor. And a lot of the times it works not very symmetrically. As you can see right here, I see how different these two edges are, and that works in my favor. But it's still symmetrical enough where I can still like add tatters and stuff like that in symmetry. Hopefully they'll end up looking fairly different. If not, it's not gonna be that hard to distinguish them. I still think he's looking a little chic. Okay. I think I'm also just judging the design too early. I'm like, he's not ugly enough. It's like, well, he's very not done, so that's a note to myself just to be patient. I guess I'm used to my pretty models taking a long time to develop, but I guess I underestimate ugly models. I'm like, it should just happen. It should be like effortless. Also, the colors I have going on here, not a fan of. It's really pale. I should get some poly paint in here. Make his hands not that dirty. Hands and feet a bit dirtier. I want this to help contrast the red purple that I'll be adding. just love that he has like this emaciated chest and like this like sculpted neck. So I got some stuff that's not balanced, but I'm working on it. If I make these veins right here more comfortably pronounced, maybe that would help. Really skinny. I think that'll help. And smooth and blend all that later. Alright, for this I have a surface modifier that I like to use. It makes it look like his pants are made out of like a basket material, which practically does and doesn't make sense, but for a mini, for the way that it looks and the way that it paints, I don't care. I love to do it. Alright. Where is it? I think it's this one. Yep, that looks... It always looks weird at first. Or at least I'm pretty sure this is it. It's the same one, yeah, I used for the pants on the Tiefling Commoner child. I can't imagine how uncomfortable this would be. This is like my alternative to like burlap, which I could do that too. I might end up doing that. But I find that this just reads and prints so much better on a mini for obvious reasons. Just had this jump up to like 1,000,000 polygons. That should be enough to retain the detail that I want. Yep, and it is. It's a little pixelated on the edges. I can just inflate this slightly and that will help with that. And then this, especially when I go through and take the time to like, come on, tatter the edges and stuff, it looks really nice. This looks really weird. I did not pay attention to the edge. Oh, I had dynamic turned on. That's partly why I was acting weird. Alright, let me adjust this really quick. You know what? I'm actually really thinking of trying that burlap material in this case. I don't want his pants to be interesting. I forgot about that. Like for the Tiefling Commoner, I did that because there's nothing else interesting about this other than he's a child and he's cute. But in this case, I want the focus to be all the disgustingness. So I'll actually make his pants a lot more muted instead. Alright, let's find a burlap sort of substitute. That looks great. Doesn't look great on the model, but maybe when I edit it, it will look less dumb. Why can't I adjust the scale? About here. Why is nothing changing and it all looks bad? Usually I can adjust stuff. Oh, here we go. Oh, because it's an alpha. I understand now. Still think it looks bad. I do think I can work with this, but not too impressed. Wish these ones worked. So this does nothing, that one does nothing. So I can work with strength and alpha scale. Okay. It's kind of a gross texture that I can then like tone down. Not enough polygons. Let's try this. Yeah, the texture is way too harsh, but I can go over that and lightly smooth it out and see how it does. Might be hard to tell just because it has some poly paint on it too. Yeah, the smooth is acting really weird too. Probably because of the poly paint. So let me just turn off poly paint. So I can really look at like what texture is this? You know what, after all of this fuss, I think I know what I would work just fine. Which would be just that clay buildup square alpha. I think it's gonna work just fine for this. Watch, I'm gonna laugh. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna make these solid. Dynamesh these, divide a few times, and yeah, we're just gonna use this texture. This is gonna work just fine. Try to get fancy there, and I'm like, you know, I just don't like it. Simpler is not always easier. Sometimes you don't have like a lot of cool accessories to add to your model. Actually a little bit trickier. Okay, I like that. And then the texture I'm going to overlay on top of it is this alpha right here. This has always done a pretty good job. You have to play with it a bit. You don't want it to be too consistent. Let's see, do I want to add poly paint to it and get fancy? No. I just want these to look scratchy. Let's try the inverse. There we go. So see, when I go like slower like this, it looks more interesting. That's much better. That's scratchier. That's going for. Because otherwise I just go straight. It's really not very interesting. I do need more polygons to do this well. Just divide it. I've done this combination several times. I just seem to forget about it all the time. Alright, and I'll add fabric folds to this later on. Make the edges of the pants a little bit darker, like they have mud on them. And let's add some tattered edges. For this, I just use the move brush and just really simply pull these shapes out, and then I'll go through later with an alpha to add that last layer of detail to it. Sometimes I'll go with damn standard and really carve up some of the tears, but it's such a small part on his pant, it's not going to get a whole lot of attention. It's a little too harsh. Okay, and now that this is a little pronounced, I can go through with the move brush again and kind of just exaggerate. That's just a really quick right edge. Frequently, I'll go back through with a move brush and back face mask and kind of just pull these shapes back to make sure none of them are like super thin, not just for 3D printing. There we go. Now he has very not nice pants. They are weirdly shaped right here. They come in and hug his feet. That's just because of the way they were made, so I'm going to fix that. Turn on transparency to see how it's fitting his leg. I want these shapes to be as straight up and down as possible because gravity. There you go. He has very gross pants now. Very nice. Sarah says, I can almost guarantee that no one is going to think this is a sexy plague victim. Oh, good. Mihira says, it happens a lot in Bangladesh, especially among the malnourished eating a grain-heavy diet. That makes a lot of sense. Sarah says, it looks quilted. I bet you can make a good gamson of that pattern. Probably. Definitely. I think I said that wrong, but I know what you're talking about. Oops. I'm going to fray the edges of this a bit, and then I'm going to add some rope. I have a really nice brush that I like to use for that. There it is. It's not going to connect all the way around. Probably because the shirt has a hole in it. So what I can do is I can just duplicate the body, delete subdivision layers on that, and do it here instead. Yeah, it's doing a much better job. Come now. It's like you get two different sizes. Yeah, it's a little too much still. It's a bit better. Go. Nice and belted, and now I will go ahead and delete this little copy of the body that I made. Oh, well, I deleted the frickin' rope brush too because I didn't separate it. Don't do that. Let's do that one more time, sass. It's okay, I thought the belt should have been a little bit smaller anyway. Let's try 20. There we go. It's a happy medium. If I ever have to redo something, I try to make it a rule that I have to at least do it better. Alright, and this time I'm going to... There we go. And delete hidden. Okay, this is being silly. So what I want to do is I want to mask all these ridiculous pieces that I obviously don't need. But it's being... Why can't I mask anything? Why are you being like this? Masking brush just isn't working at all. It usually means it's because something is masked. Yeah, see? Nothing. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Let's just try to reset all brushes. Let's see if that's the issue. It was. Okay, I don't know what happened, but resetting all brushes worked. Okay, we're working again. Get this a rope color. And now we can fit this. Not crazy about that rope color. Probably gonna change that a little bit, make it a little bit darker. It's too green. Let's go more on the orange side. It's better. So I'm probably gonna add some really heavy stitching on this, just for like the top part. Because I imagine this will be made in 2 pieces. Just you'd have to stitch it here and then here. Okay. That makes sense. Let's see, I have a bunch of pre-made seams I'm happy with. And what I got. Here's a preview of all those alphas. Which one do I want? I love this one. It's very pretty, but that's not what I'm going for. This is a very simple stitch. I can't remember what it's called, but that will probably be best. Even the last one. I'll do the last one. Alright. So to do that, I'll go to Dam Standard, go to the Alpha, Imports, and yeah, I think this is the last one. So number 50. Actually doesn't look too bad right from the get-go. To make this look better, turn on Lazy Mouse. Do a really small seam all the way down, like it was hemmed at some point. That'd make the fray more convincing too. And make this a different color. Let's choose this dark color right here, turn on RGB. I'm looking at it carefully, but in reality it doesn't matter how messy it is, because I'm just going to fray the edges anyhow. I haven't done that much sewing in my life, but I can tell you one thing, I hate sewing armholes. It's like the most awkward thing. Alright, this provides a little bit of structure to it. Like this, so I'll do 3 of them. I'll do the same texture treatment that I did to the pants. Sure to turn on back face mask, otherwise they'll just ruin the other side of it. I wasn't worried about this with the pants because it was a solid object. I'm a little unsure about the fraying. how I want to do that. But I imagine once I put this alpha on it, it's all going to come together. If it doesn't, I'll try something else. I think fine tatters look the best. They're not the most 3D printer friendly. So it's really about trying to find an in-between. Yeah, overlaying this alpha on top of it to really bring it together. I'm glad, because, again, I was like, it looks okay. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog snoring in the background. It's out. Pretty happy with that. I'm gonna see if I can add some like large folds in it to kind of sell the bulkiness of it, because right now it just looks one-dimensional. Yeah, I can see how this will simulate. Let's see how it does. I don't think it's gonna do great because this is Dynamesh, and I've noticed it does really poorly with that, but hey, I'll give it a shot. Why not? I'll also save first because it will probably crash it. I really need to relabel this because even though it's clear, I just won't read it. Leg victim, sweet. Alright. Alright, so that did not simulate. Oh yeah, so it's too dense. Much too dense. Which makes sense, because it's like 4,000 points. I can adjust it, but like, that's just a sign to me that it's not going to want to do it. I'm not going to fight with ZBrush to do it. In order to get these larger folds, I have something that can use. This will work quickly as well. I want it to be pretty bulky looking, so I might just use this as like a guide. Because this wouldn't compress that much. I'm so used to working with silky fabrics. I'm like, what do I do with this? This would be pretty whatever. This would just go straight down pretty much. Be a slight bulge here. At that. This might be a bit looser. Settle a little bit. Yeah, I think the gravity deformer is helpful here too. That's fitting a bit better, I think. This one's a bit easier. I know how that would fit. A lot of this is almost like running the simulation in your head and like, okay, what is this supposed to do? Alright, how is this looking without poly paint? Good. This looks really stiff and uncomfortable, which is good. I think the belt is a little too thick still, so I will, oops, not simulate that. I will thin that just a bit. Add some very, very light wear and tear to this. Adding a bit more dirt to his face. Alright, let's start getting this looking a bit more gross. I have this scar brush that I use very occasionally. That will be perfect for this. Where is it? There it is. Cuts. I was right on it. Cuts and scars. I was looking for a scar, not cut. Alright, it's been a moment. Let's see. See, Mr. Top is here. I think you're new. Hello. Then entertain yourself. Alright. What do I want to add to this? So obviously I want typical plague stuff. A lot of this is more bite based, so I'm probably not going to use very much of that. There's a few burn bases for this I think will work well for what I'm wanting to do. Definitely without symmetry and definitely with a more flesh tone, but on the redder side. So I might need to make a Dynamesh copy of his body and then reproject it back on. We'll see. Oh, this is gonna be so gross. I already know. Take a quick coffee break. See, I don't think the color is coming across really well with these, so I'm going to do it without poly paint, and I'll worry about that later, and I'll focus more on just the form right now. My best bet is taking stuff like this. That will be perfect. But even these will be really interesting. I think I can invert them. Perfect. So this is how the brush normally is, and you can just hold Alt and it'll invert the brush. But what's really gonna pretty much do the model for me is this. Very gross. Let's see if poly paint will work with this one. Let's see. I need some references for this. So we'll go with more of a purple color. I'm still gonna probably paint this by hand because there's a lot of layers to this, like there's yellows, reds, and purples in it. Alright, let's get some of this on here. So these predominantly form, I know, around your lymph nodes, so they're really common on the face. Right here you have some in your armpit as well. I don't think too many on the chest, but I'll probably just do that for effect. Alright, I'm just one more time, but with back face mask on. That way I'm not getting this effect on the other side of the face. I think this will fit better here. Just the way this brush is. Much better. Gross. Not a great time to be alive. Remove the shirt and start adding some details here. These ones I almost imagine like they've been popped already. Very gross. I like this because it just kind of changes the overall skin texture a bit. So I'm going to make this a lot lighter and kind of stretch this across his chest just to add some imperfections. I want to make sure I do have a lot of patches of completely clear skin though, because that contrast is what's going to help sell this. This one's a little too far over, so I'm going to place it one more time closer to the center of his belly. I know their hands would peel, and that'd be really gross and sad. I don't want to add any cuts or anything like that, just texture. I think I can like layer this brush to make it look even more awful. Like that, so it's not so even. It does make it a little more unclear, but I can clean that up later once I'm done using brushes. The rest of it I'll just do by hand. Okay, I'm happy with that. So at this point, I'm going to go through with Dam Standard and really define these. I'm going to turn down lazy radius and turn up Z intensity, get rid of the alpha I had. There we go. So it's really important that I really exaggerate these, otherwise it's going to have a really hard time showing up. So I'm really also just building up on the imperfections that are already here. So the harsh outline that I have like right here, for example, I'm going to fill that in by going to inflate. And that does a much better job than if I just did inflate without using Dam Standard around sides of it. Gross. Looking really good though. Take a short break. Thinking more about how I'm going to color these. I really want them to be a little more abnormal, like on the purple side. It's called the Black Plague for a reason, because, yeah. I think that will help it stand out more if it has more of a purple hue to it. Especially against all just the brown he's wearing, which isn't very interesting. I probably can make some of these even larger, actually. By the one on his neck, I will change the most, because that'll help change the silhouette as well. As far as the pose, I don't know if I'm going to have him sitting or not. I'll worry about that when I get to it. I might just have him shambling around like a zombie. Overall, this has actually been pretty fun though. I do want to find different textures for like this worn out clothes though. Because I've reused this technique a few times and I do like it and it is effective, but I want to make sure that I'm still trying out different things and stuff. I'm also going to bring out his ribs on his chest a little bit more too, because I'll just completely disappear otherwise. Okay, I think I know what I want to do. Okay, let's get back to it. I think this works really well as the base color. Right, going with even darker color, and I'll do that to add some more depth. It's ended up being a lot more fun to work on than I expected. Because like when I work on like a king or queen, like I knew those were going to be a lot of fun, if not just maybe a little intimidating. But it's rare that I do stuff this grim dark. I did those monsters, Eldritch Horror, not even a couple months ago, but I don't know. That felt more natural than doing it on a person. Alright, and then I'm gonna go for more like this yellow bruise tone, the farther away it is. Because with all this like skin stretching and stuff, I imagine there'd be a fair amount of bruising as well. Plus that yellow jaundice color really makes it look sickly. I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm gonna go through with move and back face mask to kind of just add more volume and shape. I play with this a bit more before I consider this ready to be posed for final details. I'm also just bringing it out more to make it as easy to 3D print as possible. Yep, he looks pretty miserable, which is great. That's exactly what I'm going for. Alright, probably wrap it up pretty soon here, because he's about done. And anything else I'm working on in the like to final touches, I'll come back with fresh eyes before I do that. Thank you, Sarah. I think it's gonna print really well. Oh wow, I'm live streaming for over an hour. I wasn't actually totally sure. I like to make sure it was at least an hour. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call this one good. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciated the feedback, and I'm glad he didn't turn out to be a sexy plague victim. Alright, so in that case, tomorrow should be the last day, right? Tomorrow's Friday, I'm pretty sure. Yes, that'll be the last day of the little sculpting week. Thanks for hanging out. A lot of you guys have been here every single day. I appreciate it, I notice. In that case, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.